General Thulvak stood before the massive holographic display, his obsidian scales gleaming under the harsh lights of the war room. The reptilian commander towered over his officers aboard the dreadnought Vectar Prime, his yellow eyes scanning the star charts with casual indifference. Today's briefing covered the final phase of their expansion into what the humans called the Orion Arm, a backwater region of space that barely deserved their attention. Status report, Thulvak commanded, his voice a low rumble that made the metal floor vibrate. Commander Veloth slithered forward, his serpentine body coiling as he activated the display controls. Sir, this sector contains only primitive civilizations. The most advanced species have barely achieved basic space travel. Most are still confined to their home planets. The hologram shifted to show a small blue and green world orbiting an ordinary yellow star. Intelligence Officer Crixon pointed at it with one of his 6-clawed hands. His insect-like features twitched as he spoke. This planet shows the highest technology level in the region. They call it Earth. Population about 7 billion. They have nuclear weapons and some space exploration capability. Thulvak's mandibles clicked together in what passed for laughter among his species. The sound echoed through the war room like breaking glass. 7 billion primitives crammed onto one world? How amusing. They haven't even learned to spread across their own solar system properly. The other officers joined in the laughter. Captain Morgek, a massive creature with 4 arms and stone-like skin, shook his head in disbelief. Sir, their largest spacecraft are slower than our cargo shuttles. They use chemical fuel actual explosions to leave their planet's gravity well. What about their military? Thulvak asked, though his tone suggested he wasn't expecting much. Crixon pulled up another display. Primitive beyond belief, sir. Their most advanced weapons are crude nuclear devices. They fight wars using metal projectiles fired from tubes. Their largest warships float on water, actual liquid water on their planet's surface. More laughter filled the room. Sub-Admiral Yorith, the youngest commander present, studied the data with growing amusement. They have something called aircraft carriers, floating platforms that launch tiny flying machines. The entire vessel is made of metal and moves slower than a walking soldier. Their space presence is laughable, Crixon continued. A few research stations, some communication satellites, and perhaps 50 small spacecraft total. Their most advanced vessel is commanded by someone named Admiral Choi Day. It mounts what they consider heavy weapons, particle beams that would barely scratch our hull paint. Thulvak examined the tactical data with the bored expression of someone reviewing routine maintenance reports. Earth's entire military space force consisted of converted research ships and mining vessels, hastily fitted with makeshift weapons. Their largest ship, the UES Soul's Pride, measured less than 200 meters long, smaller than the General's personal shuttle. How long for complete conquest? Thulvak asked. Conservative estimate puts full planetary subjugation at 72 standard hours after arrival, Crixon replied confidently. Realistically, much faster. Their technology is so primitive they might surrender immediately when they see our ships. Commander Veloth's tail swished with anticipation. Sir, their communication networks are completely open. No encryption worth mentioning. We could probably convince them we're gods just by appearing in their sky. What about their governments? Asked Captain Morgek. Fractured and primitive, Crixon answered. Over 190 separate political entities, constantly fighting among themselves. They've had 2 major planetary wars in the last century, using the crudest weapons imaginable. They can't even agree on basic trade agreements, let alone coordinate a defense. Thulvak's interest was already fading. This wouldn't even qualify as a real military operation. Very well. Sub-Admiral Yorith, this conquest is yours. Consider it a training exercise for your junior officers. The young Sub-Admiral's eyes brightened. His first independent command, even if it was against primitives who could barely leave their own planet. Thank you, sir. What are your orders regarding the population? Standard procedure. Offer them surrender terms first. We need the planet intact for mining operations. Their world has decent mineral deposits and the right atmospheric composition for our workers. If they refuse, demonstrate our superiority with minimal force. These primitives should capitulate quickly once they understand the situation. And if they don't surrender? Yorith asked, though the question seemed ridiculous even as he spoke it. Thulvak's scales rippled in what might have been a shrug. Then you have permission to use whatever force necessary. But I doubt it will come to that. Species this primitive usually submit the moment they see our technology. They understand they're outclassed. The War Council reviewed the final details. Earth's defenses were so minimal they barely registered as obstacles. The planet had no shield generators, no orbital defense platforms, and no faster-than-light communication. Once the Dominion fleet arrived, the humans would be completely cut off from any possible allies. Not that they had any worth mentioning. "Sir," Crixon added, consulting his notes, "there is one minor observation in the cultural analysis. Despite their primitive technology, humans show unusual persistence in their conflicts. They tend to continue fighting even when victory seems impossible." Thulvak waved dismissively. "Irrelevant. Primitive stubbornness means nothing against superior firepower. They'll learn quickly enough." As the officers prepared to leave, Sub-Admiral Yoreth reviewed his assignment parameters. He would take 200 warships, massive overkill for conquering a single primitive planet, but regulations required minimum force standards even for training exercises. His fleet alone could obliterate thousands of worlds like Earth. "Use this opportunity to train your crew in standard occupation procedures," Thulvak advised. "Your officers need practice with subjugation protocols. These humans will provide good experience before you face real military challenges." Commander Veloth lingered after the others left. "Sir, shouldn't we be concerned about the humans' large population? 7 billion is substantial even for primitives. Numbers mean nothing without technology or organization," Thulvak replied. "A billion primitives with sharp sticks are still just primitives with sharp sticks. Our smallest frigate could level their largest cities. They'll see reason quickly." The general returned to his quarters, already putting the insignificant conquest out of his mind. In 3 months, Sub-Admiral Yoreth would return with news of another successful addition to the Dominion. The young commander would gain valuable experience, and the Dominion would gain another world to strip mine and colonize. Thulvak settled into his command chair and activated his personal communications array. He had more important matters to discuss with High Command. Real military operations against civilizations that might actually pose a challenge. The humans of Earth would be forgotten within a year. Just another footnote in the Dominion's endless expansion. In the intelligence files, a small notation blinked unnoticed. "Human subjects demonstrate unusual adaptability and resilience under stress. Recommend further study." But no one was watching the minor details anymore. After all, what could primitives from a tiny blue planet possibly teach the galaxy's greatest military power? The dreadnought Vectar Prime continued its patrol route, carrying its crew toward more significant challenges, while Sub-Admiral Yoreth prepared for what everyone assumed would be the easiest conquest in Dominion history. Behind them, the holographic display still showed that small blue world, spinning peacefully around its yellow star, completely unaware that its fate had already been decided by creatures who saw it as nothing more than a training ground for their youngest officers. The laughter of the War Council still echoed in the empty briefing room, but soon that laughter would turn to something else entirely. 3 months later, the silence of space around Sol System shattered as 200 alien warships materialized from hyperspace. Sub-Admiral Yoreth stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the small blue planet grow larger on his display screens. His reptilian features showed confidence as he prepared for what his superiors had promised would be a simple training exercise. "All ships report ready status," announced his communications officer. "Shall I begin the standard subjugation broadcast?" "Proceed," Yoreth replied, settling back in his command chair. The message would be transmitted in the primitive languages of Earth, translated by their universal systems. He expected a response within hours, probably a panicked surrender from whatever primitive government controlled the planet. On Earth, Dr. Kim Nari was working late at the Deep Space Communications Array when every alarm in the facility began screaming at once. The astrophysicist rushed to her control station as massive energy signatures appeared on her screens. Her hands shook as she realized what she was seeing. Spacecraft, hundreds of them, far beyond anything humans had ever built. The message came through clearly, translated into perfect Korean. "Primitive inhabitants of the third planet from your star. This is Sub-Admiral Yoreth of the Galactic Dominion. You will surrender unconditionally and prepare for occupation. Resistance is futile and will result in your destruction. You have 6 hours to respond." Kim Nari stared at the transmission, her mind struggling to process what she had just heard. First contact with alien life, and they were demanding surrender. She reached for her emergency communication device with trembling fingers. Within 2 hours, every major government on Earth had received copies of the alien message. Emergency sessions convened in capitals around the world as humanity faced its first interstellar crisis. President Park Jun of the United Earth Coalition stood before the emergency assembly, his face grim as he addressed representatives from every nation on the planet. "Fellow humans," he began, his voice steady despite the magnitude of the moment. "We stand at the crossroads of our species' existence. We have received an ultimatum from an alien force that vastly outnumbers our defensive capabilities. But I say to you now, we will not surrender without a fight. We will not bow to tyranny no matter what star it comes from." The assembly erupted in discussion, but the decision was already clear. Earth would resist. Admiral Choi Day received his orders while aboard the UES Soul's Pride, humanity's most advanced spacecraft. The converted research vessel had been hastily fitted with particle cannons and nuclear missiles, the best weapons Earth could produce. Around him, 46 other ships prepared for battle, their crews knowing they faced impossible odds. "All vessels, this is Admiral Choi," he broadcast to the small fleet. "We may be outgunned, but we are not beaten. Today we show the galaxy that humanity does not kneel to anyone." The human response reached Sub-Admiral Yorith 6 hours after his ultimatum expired. He had expected groveling pleas for mercy or at least negotiation terms. Instead, he received a clear military challenge from Admiral Choi Day. "Unknown vessels, you have entered our solar system with hostile intent. We reject your demands and order you to withdraw immediately. If you refuse, you will face the consequences." Yorith's subordinates found the message amusing. Captain Threxall, his tactical officer, laughed so hard his scales rattled. "Sir, their entire fleet consists of 47 tiny vessels. Our smallest frigate outmasses their largest ship by a factor of 10. "Indeed," Yorith mused, studying the approaching human ships on his scanner. They moved in formation, primitive chemical thrusters pushing them forward at speeds that seemed laughably slow. "Very well, we'll give them their battle. It will be good practice for our gunners." The first engagement began when the human fleet reached what they considered weapons range. Admiral Choi Day ordered the attack, and Earth ships opened fire with everything they had. Particle beams lanced out toward the alien vessels while nuclear missiles streaked through space. The alien ships didn't even bother to maneuver. Their energy shields absorbed the particle cannon fire without visible effect, and their point defense systems destroyed the incoming missiles with casual ease. Return fire came from weapons that seemed to bend space itself, beams of energy that struck with the force of small suns. The human ship, Busan's Hope, vanished in a ball of superheated plasma. The frigate New Tokyo broke apart as alien fire tore through its hull. One by one, Earth's defenders fell to weapons they couldn't understand, let alone match. Captain Lee Sung commanded the destroyer Incheon's Fury when alien fire crippled his engines. As his ship tumbled helplessly through space, he ordered his crew to abandon ship. "This is Captain Lee to all vessels. They're too strong. Fall back and regroup." Admiral Choi Day watched his fleet being systematically destroyed from the bridge of the Soul's Pride. His ship shuddered as alien weapons overwhelmed its shields and tore into the hull. "All hands abandon ship," he ordered calmly. "Live to fight another day." The battle lasted 18 minutes. When it ended, the wreckage of 47 human vessels drifted through space. Some crews had escaped in life pods, but Earth's Space Defense Force had been annihilated. Sub-Admiral Yoreth surveyed the debris field with satisfaction. "Excellent gunnery practice," he told his officers. "Now we proceed to planetary bombardment. Standard intimidation pattern. Destroy a few cities to demonstrate our power, then offer surrender terms again." But something unexpected happened as the alien fleet moved toward Earth. Instead of desperate surrender broadcasts, every military installation on the planet went silent. Communication networks switched to encrypted channels that the aliens couldn't easily decode. The planet's response wasn't panic, it was preparation. Colonel Yoon Tae commanded Earth's primary orbital defense platform when the alien fleet approached. His weapons were even more primitive than the ships they had just destroyed, but he had his orders. As alien fire began tearing apart his station, he transmitted one final message to the planet below. "This is Orbital Defense Command to all Earth forces. Remember this day. Remember what they did to our ships, to our people. Make them pay for every inch of ground they take. This is Colonel Yoon, signing off. The defense platform exploded in a burst of light visible from the planet's surface. Sub-Admiral Yoreth prepared to begin orbital bombardment of major population centers, following standard Dominion intimidation protocols. He expected immediate surrender once the primitives saw their cities burning from space. Instead, he received something that confused him. A message from someone calling himself General Shin Woo, commander of Earth's ground forces. Alien invaders, you have destroyed our ships and killed our people in space. But space is not where this war will be decided. Come down to our world if you dare. We'll show you how humans fight when we're defending our home. For the first time since arriving at Earth, Sub-Admiral Yoreth felt a flicker of uncertainty. Primitives weren't supposed to issue challenges after watching their fleet get destroyed. They were supposed to surrender. Sir, his intelligence officer reported, planetary scans show massive troop movements. They're evacuating cities and moving into defensive positions in mountainous terrain and urban areas. This doesn't match expected primitive behavior patterns. Yoreth studied the tactical displays showing Earth's surface. Millions of humans were moving with coordinated precision, disappearing into underground facilities, mountain strongholds, and fortified urban areas. Their behavior suggested a level of organization and preparation that surprised him. Very well, he decided. If they want to learn the hard way, we'll accommodate them. Prepare for planetary invasion. Use minimal force initially. We still need the planet intact for mining operations. As the alien fleet positioned itself for invasion, Sub-Admiral Yoreth felt confident that ground combat would proceed as smoothly as the space battle. After all, primitives were primitives, whether they fought in space or on planetary surfaces. But deep in bunkers across Earth, human commanders were studying recordings of the space battle, analyzing alien weapons and tactics. They had learned their first lesson about their enemies. Direct confrontation was suicide. Now they would teach the aliens a lesson about fighting humans on their own world. Sub-Admiral Yoreth watched 50,000 of his best troops descend toward Earth's surface in armored dropships. The invasion began at dawn across 12 strategic locations, including major population centers like Seoul, New York, and London. His forces wore advanced combat armor that could stop human bullets and carried plasma weapons capable of melting steel. This should be over quickly. General Shin Woo crouched in a reinforced bunker beneath Seoul, watching alien dropships land in the city center through hidden cameras. The massive vessels disgorged troops that moved with mechanical precision, their weapons sweeping buildings for signs of human defenders. Everything was going according to plan. The aliens were doing exactly what humans had hoped they would do. The first phase of the invasion proceeded as Yoreth expected. Alien forces, protected by energy shields and superior firepower, easily overwhelmed human military units that tried to fight them directly. The South Korean 3rd Infantry Division lasted 12 minutes against alien plasma cannons. American Marines in New York held out for 20 minutes before being forced to retreat. Major cities fell within hours as alien forces secured key locations, government buildings, communication centers, power plants. Sub-Admiral Yoreth received updates from his ground commanders with growing satisfaction. Resistance is collapsing faster than projected, reported Colonel Vextar from Seoul. Human forces retreat whenever they encounter us. We should have complete planetary control within 48 hours. But something was wrong. The humans weren't surrendering. They were disappearing. Captain Nam-Soo led her guerrilla unit through Seoul's extensive subway system, moving through tunnels the aliens had never bothered to map. Her team of 30 soldiers carried backpacks full of improvised explosive devices made from mining charges and industrial chemicals. Above them, alien patrols stomped through empty streets confident in their control of the city. Target approaching, whispered Sergeant Park Min through her radio. Supply convoy 6 vehicles heading down Gangnam Avenue. Nam-Soo checked her watch. The aliens were punctual. Their supply runs followed exact schedules, just like their military doctrine said they should. All teams remember the plan. Hit fast, hit hard, then disappear before they can respond. The explosions erupted simultaneously from manholes along the street. Alien vehicles designed to withstand energy weapons crumpled under the crude but effective blast of human explosives. Before the surviving aliens could react, Nam-Soo's teams had already vanished back into the tunnel system. Colonel Vextar arrived at the ambush site 20 minutes later. His reptilian features twisted with confusion. The convoy was destroyed, but there were no human bodies, no evidence of which direction the attackers had gone. His sensors detected no energy weapon signatures, just the residue of primitive chemical explosives. How did they do this? He demanded of his intelligence officer. Our scanners show no human military units in this area. Sir, the attack came from underground. The humans have extensive tunnel systems beneath their cities. Our orbital surveys missed them because they're too deep. In the mountains outside Busan, Lieutenant Jin Ho adjusted his rifle scope and watched alien sentries patrol the captured airfield below. The weapon he carried wasn't standard military issue. It was a modified industrial railgun that accelerated metal slugs to incredible speeds using electromagnetic fields. Primitive technology, but effective. His shot took the alien sentry's head off at 800 meters. The electromagnetic slug passed right through the creature's energy shield, which was designed to stop plasma bolts and laser beams, not kinetic projectiles moving at several times the speed of sound. Before the aliens could locate his position, Jin Ho was already moving to his next firing spot. His sniper team had prepared dozens of positions throughout the mountains, connected by hidden trails that only local hunters knew. They could kill alien sentries all day without ever being caught. Dr. Oh Min worked in a hidden laboratory beneath the ruins of a medical center, studying tissue samples from dead aliens. The biochemist had made a fascinating discovery. The invaders' physiology was completely different from human biology, which made them vulnerable to toxins that wouldn't affect humans at all. Their respiratory systems can't process these compounds, he explained to his assistant. We can put this into their water supplies and make entire bases sick within hours. His team had already poisoned 3 alien outposts, causing mass casualties among occupying forces. The aliens, who could easily survive human energy weapons, proved surprisingly vulnerable to biological warfare they had never encountered. Sergeant Kang Yi crouched over the body of an alien soldier in a bombed-out building, carefully removing the creature's plasma rifle. Her engineering background had proven invaluable in the resistance. She could take apart almost any machine and figure out how it worked. The power cell connects here, she explained to her team, and the targeting system uses this optical interface. If we modify the grip and add a human-compatible sight, we can use these against them. Within weeks, Kang Yi's workshops were producing hybrid weapons that combined human engineering with alien technology. These weapons proved even more effective than pure alien equipment because they were designed for human tactics and strategies. After 1 month of occupation, Sub-Admiral Yoreth's casualty reports made disturbing reading. Instead of a peaceful mining operation, his forces faced constant ambushes, equipment failures, and mysterious illnesses. Worse, human resistance was growing stronger, not weaker. They're learning from every encounter, his intelligence officer reported during the daily briefing. Each engagement teaches them new tactics. They're adapting faster than any species we've encountered. Colonel Vextar's reptilian scales had lost their healthy sheen from stress and sleepless nights. Sir, they don't fight like any military force in our databases. There's no central command we can target, no main army we can defeat. They're everywhere and nowhere. What do you mean? Yoreth demanded. They hit our supply convoys, then vanish. They assassinate our sentries, then disappear into terrain we can't search effectively. They poison our food and water, then blend back into the civilian population. We control the major buildings and roads, but they control everything else. The reports from other invasion sites told similar stories. In New York, human resistance fighters used the city's complex subway system to move undetected. In London, they hid in ancient tunnels that predated modern mapping. Every major city had underground networks the aliens couldn't effectively patrol. Captain Morvex reported from the Beijing sector. Sir, we've lost 12 patrols this week. The humans use weapons that don't show on our energy sensors. They attack from impossible distances with projectile weapons that penetrate our shields. Even more disturbing were the technological developments. Human resistance forces were incorporating alien equipment into their own weapons and tactics. They had learned to use alien communication devices, power sources, and even some weapon systems. Lieutenant Commander Thexon submitted a report that made Yoreth's blood run cold. Sir, the humans have started using our own plasma rifles against us. They've modified them somehow to work with their tactics. Yesterday, a human sniper killed 3 of my soldiers from 100 meters using one of our own weapons. For the first time since arriving at Earth, Sub-Admiral Yorith felt genuine concern. This wasn't how conquests were supposed to proceed. Primitive species were supposed to surrender quickly when faced with superior technology, not adapt and fight back more effectively. "Sir," his communications officer announced, "we're receiving a message from the human resistance. It's being broadcast on all frequencies." General Shin Wu's voice came through clearly. "Sub-Admiral Yoreth, your occupation of our cities means nothing. You hold buildings while we hold the hearts of our people. Every day you stay on our world, we grow stronger and you grow weaker. Leave now while you still can." Yoreth stared at the communication panel in disbelief. Primitives weren't supposed to issue ultimatums to Dominion forces. They were supposed to be begging for mercy by now. "Sir," his tactical officer said quietly, "perhaps we should request additional reinforcements from General Tulvak." The words hung in the air like an admission of failure. Sub-Admiral Yorith had been given this assignment as a training exercise against primitives who should have surrendered within days. Now he was considering asking for help against an enemy his superiors had dismissed as irrelevant. But as another report came in of a destroyed supply depot and 30 more casualties, Yorith realized he had no choice. The humans were teaching him a painful lesson about the difference between theoretical superiority and practical warfare. For the first time in Dominion history, a training exercise was becoming a real war. 6 months after the invasion began, Colonel Hanbo crouched in the ruins of downtown Seoul, studying the alien command ship through his binoculars. The massive vessel sat in the middle of what used to be a public park, its hull gleaming with advanced armor and shield generators. Getting inside would be suicide unless you knew exactly how to do it. His special forces team had spent weeks preparing for this moment. They had studied alien patrol patterns, learned guard rotations, and most importantly, discovered that alien sensors had a blind spot during their daily maintenance cycle. Tonight, they would exploit that weakness. "Remember," Hanbo whispered to his team, "we're not here to destroy it. We need that ship intact. Everything depends on what our scientists can learn from their technology." The raid began at 0300 hours when Seoul's power grid went dark. Another resistance cell had sabotaged the city's electrical system. In the confusion, Hanbo's team moved like shadows through the blacked-out streets. They reached the command ship just as its external sensors shut down for routine maintenance. 20 minutes later, they had captured the most advanced piece of alien technology on Earth. Dr. Li Jin stood in the hidden laboratory complex built into the abandoned subway tunnels beneath the city. Around her, the greatest minds of human science and engineering worked frantically to understand the alien systems they had captured. The command ship contained manufacturing equipment, technical databases, and most valuable of all, complete schematics for alien weapons and spacecraft. "Their technology isn't magic," she explained to the resistance leadership gathered around her. "It's just more advanced than ours. But advancement can be reverse-engineered, improved upon, and turned against its creators." The breakthrough came when engineer Park Min discovered something remarkable about alien quantum computers. The sophisticated systems that ran their spacecraft and weapons had a critical vulnerability. They were susceptible to a specific type of electromagnetic pulse that human technology could generate. "Look at this," Park Min said excitedly, pointing to the computer core he had partially disassembled. "Their quantum processors are incredibly powerful, but they rely on maintaining perfect quantum states. If we can disrupt those states with the right frequency of electromagnetic interference, their entire system crashes." Dr. Li Jin stared at the discovery with growing excitement. "You mean we can disable their ships?" "Better than that," Park Min grinned. "We can build weapons specifically designed to target their computer systems. I call them Q-bombs, quantum disruption devices." Within months, human technology took a massive leap forward. The first hybrid fighter craft rolled out of hidden underground factories, combining human maneuverability with alien power systems. Captain Kim Woo test-piloted the prototype over the Pacific Ocean, amazed at how responsive the controls felt. "Control, this is Phoenix 1, she radioed to the hidden base. "The power output is incredible. I'm showing thrust capabilities 3 times higher than our best chemical rockets." The real test came when alien fighters intercepted her. The enemy pilots expected to face primitive human aircraft and received a nasty surprise. Phoenix 1 moved like nothing they had seen before, combining alien technology with human flying instincts that confused and outmatched them. Kim Wu's fighter destroyed 3 alien craft. Before vanishing into a storm system the aliens couldn't track through. The victory sent shockwaves through the occupation forces and hope through human resistance cells worldwide. Admiral Baek's son stood on the bridge of the UES New Dawn, humanity's first truly advanced spacecraft, built from salvaged alien components in a hidden asteroid facility. The ship represented everything humans had learned about their enemy's technology. "All stations report ready," announced his executive officer. Quantum disruption torpedoes loaded and targeted. The New Dawn had been hunting alien supply ships for weeks, using hit-and-run tactics that the enemy couldn't counter. Today's target was a massive cargo vessel, carrying reinforcements and equipment to the occupation forces on Earth. "Fire," Baek's son ordered. The Q-bomb struck the alien ship's hull and immediately began disrupting its quantum computer systems. Within minutes, the entire vessel went dark as its computers crashed and its weapon systems failed. Human boarding parties swarmed aboard to capture the ship and its cargo. But the real breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Captain Seo Young commanded the Resistance's intelligence division, and her greatest achievement wasn't captured technology, it was captured information. "We've broken into their communication networks," she announced to a gathering of Resistance leaders. "We can monitor their fleet movements, their supply schedules, even their internal reports." The intelligence she gathered revealed the truth about Earth's situation. Humanity wasn't just facing an invasion, they were facing a test. The Galactic Dominion used conquered worlds as training grounds for new commanders and experimental tactics. Earth was never meant to survive the conquest. The planet was meant to provide target practice for alien forces. When this information spread through human resistance networks, it changed everything. The war was no longer about survival. It was about proving that some species refused to be anyone's practice target. Major Lee Hyo commanded a hybrid strike force equipped with the latest human-alien technology. Her soldiers carried weapons that looked like science fiction, plasma rifles modified for human use, personal shield generators, and communication devices that could tap into alien networks. "Listen up," she told her team before their next mission. "Intelligence indicates a major alien supply depot 50 kilometers north of the city. It's defended by a full battalion of their best troops, but they're not expecting us to have weapons that can match theirs." The attack came at dawn. Human soldiers, moving with alien equipment but human tactics, struck the depot from multiple directions simultaneously. The defending aliens found themselves facing enemies who fought with technology equal to their own, but with strategies they couldn't predict. The battle lasted 4 hours and ended with complete human victory. More importantly, the captured supplies included advanced manufacturing equipment that would allow the Resistance to build even better weapons. Engineer Wan Qi worked in one of the new production facilities, assembling the next generation of human spacecraft. The ships looked alien but felt human. Sleek hulls powered by fusion reactors armed with quantum torpedoes, and equipped with adaptive shielding that could adjust to different types of weapons. "The beauty of reverse engineering," he explained to his team, "is that we can improve on their designs. They built their ships for their tactics and their way of thinking. We're building ours for how humans fight." The Resistance had also learned something else valuable from captured alien equipment: how to communicate across interstellar distances. For the first time, humanity could monitor Dominion fleet movements throughout the galaxy. Captain Lim Su operated the hidden communication array that intercepted alien transmissions. What she discovered changed everything humanity thought they knew about the war. "You need to hear this," she told the Resistance leadership, playing back a conversation between Sub-Admiral Yorath and his superiors. "They're not just fighting us. They're reporting our resistance to the Dominion High Command as a significant threat." The recording revealed that Earth's resistance had inspired rebellions on 17 other worlds. Human tactical advisors were somehow making contact with other subjugated species, teaching them the same guerrilla warfare techniques that had proven so effective against the occupation forces. General Xin Wu listened to the intelligence with growing amazement. "They're afraid of us. Not just our weapons or our tactics, they're afraid of our ideas. We're teaching their other subjects how to resist." The final piece of the puzzle came when Dr. Song Bi's research team established contact with resistance movements on other worlds. Using captured alien communication technology, they began coordinating with alien rebels who had learned human fighting techniques. "This changes everything," Songbi reported. "We're not just fighting for Earth anymore. We're leading a galactic revolution." 2 years after the invasion began, Sub-Admiral Yoreth received reports that would have been impossible to believe when he first arrived at Earth. Human forces now fielded technology that matched or exceeded Dominion equipment. They had established hidden bases throughout the solar system and were actively supporting rebellions on dozens of other worlds. Worse, humanity had begun launching their own interstellar missions. Human ships had been detected in 12 different star systems, always appearing wherever Dominion forces faced unexpectedly strong resistance from local populations. The primitives from the tiny blue planet had become the galaxy's most effective teachers of rebellion, and their lessons were spreading faster than the Dominion could contain them. General Thulvak stood before the holographic display in his war room, but he was no longer laughing. The reports spread across the screens told a story that shattered everything the Dominion believed about their military superiority. Sub-Admiral Yoreth's training exercise had become a full-scale war requiring 3 complete battle fleets, and they were still losing. "Impossible," Thulvak hissed, his obsidian scales dulling with stress. "How can primitives destroy over 400 of our vessels?" The answer materialized on his scanners as Admiral Beksun's deep space fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the system. The human ships looked like nothing in the Dominion databases. Sleek vessels that combined alien technology with human engineering, bearing names like Sol Rises, Inshan's Revenge, and New Earth's Pride. Commander Kim Ray stood on the bridge of her flagship, studying the massive alien space station orbiting Proxima Centauri. The Dominion supply depot was heavily defended, but human intelligence had provided detailed information about its weaknesses. Today would prove whether humanity could take the fight beyond their home system. "All ships, this is Admiral Kim Ray," she broadcast to her fleet. "Remember what they did to our world. Remember our people who died in their training exercise. Today we teach them that humans don't make good target practice." The battle began with a coordinated strike that would have impressed even Dominion tacticians. Human ships moved with precision and purpose, their quantum torpedoes targeting specific sections of the alien station. But what shocked the defenders wasn't the power of human weapons. It was their tactics. Instead of the direct frontal assault the aliens expected, human forces attacked from multiple vectors simultaneously. Some ships targeted the station's power generators while others struck communication arrays. A third group focused on disabling the defensive weapon systems, and a fourth targeted the docking bays to prevent reinforcements from launching. The entire assault lasted 6 hours and ended with the complete destruction of the Dominion's primary supply depot in the sector. More importantly, Captain Gian Hayes' Marines captured the station's intelligence center before it could be destroyed. The information they found changed everything. Complete Dominion fleet positions, supply routes, communication codes, and most valuable of all, detailed records of every world under Dominion control. Humanity didn't just steal alien technology, they stole alien intelligence. Over the following months, human strike forces appeared throughout the galaxy like ghosts. Captain Wante's raiders destroyed mining operations on 12 different worlds, always striking at the most vulnerable moment and vanishing before reinforcements could arrive. Major Park So's commando units infiltrated alien prison colonies, liberating not just human captives but thousands of aliens from other conquered species. These liberated peoples didn't return to their home worlds. They joined the human fleet as allies, bringing their own knowledge of Dominion weaknesses. Dr. Song B established hidden bases on asteroids and moons throughout multiple star systems, creating an invisible network of human outposts. From these bases, human advisors made contact with resistance movements on dozens of worlds, teaching alien rebels the same guerrilla warfare techniques that had proven so effective on Earth. The war's turning point came when General Chung Huk's expeditionary force attacked the Dominion's regional headquarters at Wolf 359. The fortress was considered impregnable, protected by energy shields, defended by an entire battle fleet, and garrisoned with the Dominion's elite forces. Human forces didn't try to match the Dominion's strength. Instead, they used 2 years of guerrilla warfare experience to turn the enemy's advantages against them. Small human ships disguised as cargo vessels, infiltrated the station's docking bays. Boarding parties moved through maintenance tunnels the aliens had never thought to guard. Communication specialists jammed the station's networks while combat engineers sabotaged critical systems. The battle ended not with the destruction of the fortress, but with its capture. For the first time in Dominion history, an entire regional command structure fell into enemy hands, including Admiral Zulvek, one of their most experienced generals. Colonel Imjun conducted the interrogation personally. The alien admiral, stripped of his command codes and isolated from his fleet, proved surprisingly willing to talk when faced with the reality of human determination. "Your species fights like no other we've encountered," Admiral Zulvek admitted, his reptilian features showing something that might have been respect. "You don't just resist, you evolve. Every setback teaches you. Every defeat makes you stronger." The intelligence he provided was devastating. The Galactic Dominion's expansion had been slowing for decades as they encountered increasing resistance from conquered peoples. They relied on overwhelming technological superiority and psychological warfare because they had forgotten how to fight adaptive, innovative enemies. "Most species surrender quickly when they see our technology," the alien admiral explained. "They accept their inferiority and submit to our rule. Your species did something we never expected. You refused to accept that our technology made us superior." But the most shocking revelation came when Admiral Zulvek described the Dominion's internal structure. Their 1,000-year reign depended entirely on conquered species believing in Dominion invincibility. When one species refused to submit, when one species fought back and won, the psychological foundation of the entire empire began to crack. The evidence was already appearing throughout the galaxy. Intelligence reports showed rebellions on 17 different star systems. Human tactical advisors were working with insurgent groups on dozens of worlds. The primitive species from Sol 3 had become the spark that threatened to burn down an empire. General Thulvak found himself standing before the Galactic Dominion's high command, no longer the confident commander who had dismissed Earth as a training ground. The Supreme Commander, a creature so ancient and powerful that few beings had ever seen her true form, regarded him with barely contained fury. "Explain to me," she said, her voice carrying the weight of 1,000 conquered worlds, "how a single primitive planet has cost us 47 battle groups and inspired rebellion across our entire region." Thulvak's scales had lost their obsidian shine, now appearing dull and gray with exhaustion. "Supreme Commander, the humans fight differently than any species we've ever encountered. They don't just resist, they learn. They adapt, they turn our own strengths against us, and now this infection is spreading to our other subjects?" "Yes, Supreme Commander. Human advisors are teaching guerrilla warfare techniques to resistance movements on dozens of worlds. Species that were pacified centuries ago are taking up arms again. They believe they can win because the humans proved it's possible." The Supreme Commander's form shifted with barely contained rage. "One species, one tiny primitive world has undone centuries of psychological conditioning. How is this possible?" The answer came from an unexpected source. Communications Officer Vex Thul announced that human transmissions were being broadcast throughout Dominion space on all frequencies. The message was simple but devastating. Admiral Kim Su's voice echoed across the galaxy from hidden transmitters on hundreds of worlds. "To all enslaved peoples, to all conquered worlds, this is Admiral Kim Su of the Human Liberation Fleet calling. We were told that resistance was futile. We were told that superior technology made our enemies invincible. We proved them wrong." The broadcast continued. "Freedom is not given, it is taken. Victory is not guaranteed, it is earned. We cannot promise you easy success, but we can promise you this. If you fight, we will fight beside you. If you resist, we will teach you how to resist effectively. The age of Dominion tyranny is ending, and a new age of freedom is beginning." The Supreme Commander listened to the broadcast with growing horror. For 1,000 years, the Dominion had maintained control through the simple belief that resistance was impossible. Now humans were broadcasting proof that the impossible was merely difficult. "Supreme Commander," General Thulvak said quietly, "we must decide quickly. Do we commit our entire military to destroying Earth and its human allies, or do we attempt to negotiate?" "Negotiate?" The Supreme Commander's fury made the air itself tremble. "We do not negotiate with primitives. With respect, Supreme Commander, they are no longer primitives. Human technology now matches our own. Their tactics are superior to ours. Their strategy is spreading rebellion faster than we can contain it. The Supreme Commander fell silent, contemplating the unthinkable, that the Galactic Dominion might face its first serious challenge in a millennium. Around her, the High Command waited for orders that would determine the fate of an empire. On Earth, General Xin Wu stood in the ruins of Seoul, watching human and alien engineers working together to rebuild the city. The occupation was over, but the war was far from finished. Across the galaxy, newly liberated worlds were learning human techniques for resisting tyranny. The tiny blue planet that had once seemed like easy prey for alien conquest had become something the Dominion had never faced before. A teacher of revolution, showing the galaxy that freedom was possible for any species brave enough to fight for it. The laughter had indeed stopped, replaced by something the Galactic Dominion had never heard before.